What better way to bring in summer than with a strawberry cupcake with a strawberry chocolate frosting? Stay tuned while I show you how to make my wonderful strawberry cupcakes. Welcome back, friends. If you're new to my channel, my name is Andrea, and this is Dessert First, where 3 weeks out of the month I'll show you how to make a delicious dessert, and 1 week out of the month I'll show you how to make a savory dish. So gotta kind of throw something in there that's not full of sugar every now and then, right? Maybe? All right, so today I'm going to show you how to make my strawberry cupcakes with a strawberry chocolate frosting. They're so delicious and it's really going to be a great treat coming into summer. So, all right, let's get started. So we're going to get started on mixing up our strawberry cupcakes, and we're just making a smaller batch, not a huge batch, so not a party batch. So we're going to start with 1 stick of room temperature butter. I have unsalted butter here. If you have salted butter, that's fine. Don't worry about trying to figure out how much salt to omit from it. It's such a small amount that it really is not going to make a big difference. So we're going to just kind of get that going in the mixer. All right, and to the butter, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. And then we're just going to mix this for about a minute or two. And now that our butter is kind of lightened up, so it looks a lot more white, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Give that just a quick little mix. And then we're going to add 3 large egg whites. Now, you can either use your whole eggs and separate your egg whites from your yolks. If you're going to use your yolks for something else, if you don't want to waste your yolks because eggs are not exactly cheap, you can definitely just buy the liquid egg whites. They work perfectly fine. So that's what I have here. So we're just going to add about 1/3 of this and mix it till it's mixed in. Okay, just add a little more. And then add the rest of it. And I want to scrape down the bowl because, you know, our butter is stuck to the side of it. So get that scraped down. And don't forget to scrape the bottom of the bowl too. Okay. All right. So you want to go ahead and just mix that because it's going to look kind of curdled looking just from the butter and the egg, and you know they don't really come together real well without something else to bind them. So just kind of give it a good mix or two for a minute or so, just so it's kind of mixed in good. All right, so here in my bowl, I've got 1.5 cups of cake flour. And then I am going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. then a half a tablespoon of baking powder. And then I'm just going to give this a little mix. Just to mix that in. Okay. And then I've also got a half a cup of whole milk. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of sour cream as well. So first we're just going to start with some of the flour. So we're just going to turn this on low. Add about half of the milk. And you want to make sure that it gets mixed well before you add your next batch. That way you don't wind up with clumps. So the rest of the milk. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add sour cream. I just like adding the sour cream just because it adds a little bit of a something to it, you know, not just has a little sourness. Kind of helps to balance those flavors a little. Okay. And then we're just going to add the last of our flour. And we're just going to scrape down our bowl because we've got flour everywhere. So at this point, we just have a really nice vanilla white cake batter, just your basic white cake batter. But now we're going to add our strawberry. And I'm going to actually use strawberry jam. Now you could make your own strawberry compote just using either fresh strawberries if you have really good ones in your area, or using frozen strawberries and cooking them down, adding your sugar and your cornstarch and all that, and then chopping up your strawberries. Or you could take the easy route and just get some strawberry jam. So We're going to start with 1/4 cup just to see if that's where I want it or not. Because this is a small batch. I'm just going to go all in and go with the 1/2 cup. All right, so it's a fairly pale pink. So you could add some food coloring if you wanted to. So I think I'm going to go with just a touch of food coloring. All right, so I like to use the gel food coloring. So this is just a light pink here. And we're just going to put just a little bit. Okay, just like 1 drop. We'll see where that gets us. I'm not looking for a dark pink. Most strawberry cakes that I see are pretty bright, but I'd like something a little lighter. Yeah, I think that's going to be about right for what I'm looking for anyway. I'm going to give this a good mix. And it's almost like a blush pink. So just a pale pink, not much food coloring. If you're avoiding the red dyes for kids or whatever, that's fine. It's just for looks. It adds absolutely nothing other than just looks. So you've got the strawberry in there to give it a good strawberry flavor. All right. So just clean this off. I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. So it is ready to go. And I've got my cupcake pan and I've got liners in it. I really like these kind of bakery liners. And I went with this color, the light color for these. And I've got my ice cream scoop, just your standard old school ice cream scoop. I find that that's the perfect amount of cupcake batter. And we're just going to dump it in there. Sometimes it doesn't want to come out, so you just have to use your spatula to kind of get the rest of it out of there. Using an ice cream scoop will help for your cupcakes to all have about the same amount of batter in each one, so they'll be more consistent in size. So I've got 12 liners filled, and I've really got enough batter here for a couple more. So it's too much to try to divide between the other two. So I'll bake these and then I'll just finish the rest of the batter off. And then we'll let these cool, and then we'll come back and make the strawberry chocolate buttercream frosting to go on top of them. Okay, so our strawberry cupcakes baked at 350 degrees for 22 minutes. And then I've just let them set and cool down completely. So now we're going to start on our strawberry chocolate buttercream frosting. So this will be a white chocolate buttercream, and then we're going to add some strawberry to that. So in my saucepan here, I've got some water that I've got boiling. So I'm going to turn that down to low because I don't really need it to boil. I've measured or weighed out 6 ounces of white chocolate. So this is just the melting chocolate. So this is the brand that I get that I like really well. So 6 ounces, and I'm just going to dump that into a bowl. And then I'm going to put the bowl over. This is just going to set on top of the pan so the bottom of the bowl does not touch the water. So we just want it to melt. So we don't want that water touching the bowl because it could get too hot and then cause it to kind of scorch a little bit. So get this up just a little bit more so you can see it. There we go. So this will only take a couple of minutes. Let's get a spatula. So we just want this to melt. We're not looking for it to do anything other than just melt. So, and then we'll need it to cool back down before we can add it to our buttercream. So we're just going to give that a couple of minutes to melt down. Our chocolate is completely melted. There might be just one little tiny lump, but we're just going to leave this sit here for a second or two more. Just make sure. All right, so it's nice and creamy. So let's go ahead and pull it off of here. There we go. And then I'm just going to set that aside. So let's get going on the buttercream. So I've got 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature. So those are going to go in. And then I'm going to use the paddle attachment, and we're just going to mix that up, kind of cream it just a little bit. All right, so to the butter, I'm going to add 2 cups of powdered sugar. Go. And then we're just going to mix this for about 2 minutes or so. All right, so now we are going to add our chocolate. Let's see if it's cooled down. It's still pretty warm. All right, so we're going to add our cooled melted white chocolate. So I've let it cool for about 5 minutes. You just want it that when you touch it, that it, maybe is slightly warm. You just don't want it so warm that it's going to melt your butter when you add it. So just let it cool for about 5 minutes or so, and then it should be. If you think it's just a little bit too warm, just wait a few more minutes and it should be good. You just don't want it to start setting back up. So it's still liquid, but it's cooled down, so we're good to go. So we're going to add that to our frosting here. Go. And then we're going to whip this for 2 minutes. Let's check this. Oops. All right. So it's getting there. My butter was really probably a little over room temperature. So if you feel that it's still too warm and it's a little too runny, just get you something, a bag of ice or something frozen. Just hold it up against there to kind of cool the bowl. And as it's whipping, it will help to bring that temperature down and kind of solidify it a little bit more. So we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're also going to add 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, and then we're just going to turn it back on and whip it some more. All right, so at this point, we're just going to scrape our bowl down, check for consistency. And as you know, I always say go all the way to the bottom and scrape that down. So it has a really nice consistency. We're not looking to do any kind of like piping decorations. We are going to pipe this, but we're not looking to decorate with it. So it does not need to be firmer than this, so we are good there. What we're going to do though, get this back on there, is now we're going to add our strawberry. Now in the cupcakes I added strawberry jam, but that's still, even though it's a jam, it still would be considered a liquid, and I don't want to add any more liquid to this frosting. So what I've got is some freeze-dried strawberries, and you can get these, usually the grocery stores will have them in around where the nuts and like the jerkies and all that is at. That's where it's at in my store. So they've got other dried fruits and that sort of thing. So this is a 1 ounce package. So I'm just using about half of it. And I just took them and just crushed them in my hands. I'm not looking for it to all be complete powder. We want a few little pieces, but you want it to be fairly fine. So that's like a 1/2 ounce. So we're just going to add that to that and mix it in. All right. And it's such a pretty pink color too. So no food coloring is needed for this at all. And the moisture from the frosting will kind of help to rehydrate that strawberry just a little bit. So let's remove that. All right, so it's all, you can see the bits of strawberry in there. It's just really nice. Smells nice and strawberry-y. All right, so we are going to get our piping bag and our tip. Now for this, I'm going to use the Wilton 2A tip. So it's a larger tip, and it's just the flat, so no flute on it. Some of these pieces of strawberry may be too big to fit through a smaller tip, so I'm just going to go with this one here. So, and the great thing with it is you don't need the fittings. You can just take it and just drop it right into your bag. If you already have your end cut off, easy peasy. All right, so we're just gonna fill our bag, and I just have the regular bag size. I don't have the big like bakery size bags, so you know I may have to fill it a time or two. That's okay. Not too concerned about it. All right. You don't want to overfill it. There we go. And that's about half. So half of our frosting fit into this just traditional bag. So we're just going to take, and I'm just going to kind of swirl it around, just like so. Okay. And then I think I can get one more out of this one. Whoops. Just fill our bag again. I know a lot of people use they'll put their bags in like a glass to fill it, but honestly I've never done that. Just if you just get your bag folded under so that it's kind of under over your hand like so, then it's easy to fill. So all right, and we're just gonna finish these up. And this batch of cupcakes, I did get 15 cupcakes out of the batch. So you could double the recipe if you were making cupcakes for a party or something. Just double your cake batter recipe and then just double your frosting batter recipe. So all right, so let's go ahead. They're so pretty just the way they are, but let's just add a little bit more. I'm just going to take some of these freeze-dried strawberries and just add a piece on here. Now, if you were going to take this somewhere and you weren't going to eat these like immediately, you might want to wait and not add these because they will pull moisture and then be kind of chewy. So, but anyway, I'll just do a couple just like that. And that is my strawberry cupcakes with a strawberry chocolate buttercream frosting. I hope you enjoy this recipe. If you'd like to see more like this, go ahead and subscribe, share, like, hit that notification bell so you know when I'm posting another video, and leave some comments. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just always keep them kind. All right, until next time.